Good evening. I'd like to call the Quarry Commission regular meeting for Monday, July 12th, 2021 at 6 o'clock in order. Everybody is present with the exception of Commissioner Beersner. He let me know that he has a family issue going on, so he's going to be absent, and I wish the best for him. So, everyone else is here. Our commissioner, do we have one here? Yeah, not yet. I'm sorry, our council member that normally attends. He's not here, so we'll give him an excuse.
Nope.
No? Okay, no excuse. Other than that, everyone else is here, so I'd like to call the meeting to order with a pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's take our seats. Okay, I was a little bit out of order there, but roll call is still the same. All present, except for. I didn't see any citizen comments or anyone signed up for anything, so we're moving right along to number 5. We'd like to approve our minutes.
So moved. Second.
Any opposed? Okay, it is so approved, March 8th minutes. We're going to discuss whatever Hanson has been doing, so if you're ready to work with us. Review and discuss the monthly Hanson Quarry blasting analysis data reported by Vibertech.
Hello, everyone. My name is David Launer. I'm with Vibertech out of Austin, Texas. And we're going to discuss today the months of March and April, and then we're going to do May and June in 2 separate reports. Right now I'm looking, do you guys have this review that we give you guys in front of you? I'm looking in the top left corner, and it says that in March, the highest peak particle velocity was a 0.135 inches per second at the Warden property line. That was on March 30th, and the blast location was in the Aggie Pit East A. And on the top right here in that same form, the highest air over pressure in March was the 112 decibels at the Holly seismograph on March 2nd, and that was the base pit northeast. That number, the AO was 112 at the Holly seismograph. And on the bottom left of that same first page of document, going to April, the highest peak particle velocity in April was 0.155 inches per second at the Warden property line seismograph on April 22nd, and that blast location was in the Aggie Pit West B.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Let me turn this on. I'll tell you how sorry I am with email. Okay, it's a miracle. There it is. What are you referring to?
Can you, do you have this document in front of you? It has all the
I found the usual stuff, but I thought there was a summary you were talking about.
Well, I'm just simply giving you the highest.
Okay,
PPV and
there's not
AO
a separate sheet with the summary. I'm sorry, go ahead.
These are just reading these out. And so again, the highest peak particle velocity in April was 0.155 at the Warden property line, and the highest air over pressure in April was 113 decibels at the Warden property line on the April 19th, Aggie Pit North B. So just a quick summary of the highest PPVs and AOs for March and April. And now that corresponds to the presentation that we have up here on in front of your monitors.
And the number of blasts in March and April were?
I'm sorry?
What were the number of blasts?
For the month?
For each month?
For each month. I don't have that written down, but I can look at this real quick for you. 1, 2.
It's like 9 in April, just guessing.
Yeah, I got 11 in March, and 1. And then 9 in April.
Okay, thank you.
So it's like a total of 20. The map in front of you here shows the locations of the blasts for March and April combined. It's a little crowded there, but you can see where they're concentrating their efforts in the pit. The very top corner there would be the upper west corner and the lower west, and then below that slightly is the Aggie Pit location. And then continue moving southward in the pit, you can see the base pit location. And pretty much those are the areas, and then you can see the compliance seismographs there. If the little house has an icon, that means that, like the Bauer residence, that means the seismograph's at a residence. And for Holly, the reason it's a square seismograph is just indicate that that's office property. This is the overall summary of the USBM chart that shows the locations of all of the compliance seismograph. Now, the Bauer seismograph was included in this as a floating compliance, but there were no triggers relating to blasting activity. So her seismograph does not even appear on this chart, but we were recording data at her house in addition to these locations here. You can see everything is in good range below the Z curve, and we have good frequency there between 4 and up to 40, so everything's bunched together nicely. Remember, we want higher frequency if possible. This is a summary of the air overpressure for the months of March and April. Again, the same locations, the compliance seismographs, and again, Bauer never had a trigger for air overpressure, so it does not appear there, but pretty good low numbers there.
Dave,
Yes.
can we get that added on those ones, the footnote? The Bauer seismograph was included, not heard.
I think so. This is created straight from the client website, so it just allowed, it didn't pull the data because it wasn't a trigger, but we'll find a way to add that on to indicate that the Bauer seismograph was there. We'll give that back to you guys. Thank you, Pat. This is moving on to the concerns. There were not many concerns during this 2-month period. In fact, there was only one. It was on March 25th, and that was a base pit northwest A corner shot. The residents concerned in this one was the Covington residents down there right off Primrose, just west of 3009. And the Covington residents had a concern about the March 25th blast. So here's just a little summary of his concerns. Blast shook wall so much that the picture fell off. He did not request contact from the quarry, so I guess he was just letting us know his concerns. This is just a simple map showing his location on Primrose, and the nearest compliance seismograph would be the Holly seismograph, and then there again in the base pit is the location of that day's blast. And since there was not a seismograph in the Covington yard, we're going to look at the Holly seismograph, and this is the reading from that compliance seismograph. And you can see everything is a pretty good low number there, and hertz are in a good shape too. So that was the concerns for those 2 months. And now, because we missed our previous meeting because of the mayoral election in town, we didn't have our meeting a few months ago, so that's why we're here now. So we're going to go now and briefly look at the May and June concerns. So again, I'm now referencing this summary sheet that we gave you guys that have all of the records from those months. Let's go ahead and add these up real quick and see in May how many blasts I had. Let me count them real quick. Like we had 12 blasts in May, and the highest peak particle velocity in May was a 0.163 inches per second at the Warden property line from the May 14th blast in the Aggie Pit North B. And the highest air overpressure in May was 118 dB decibels at the Warden property line seismograph on the May 6th Aggie Pit North A. So again, highest PPV in May, 0.163, highest AO, 118. And jumping over to June real quick, let's see how many blasts we had in June. Looks like we had 10, probably because of the rains. They may have not been able to get a higher number. as usual. So the highest PPV in June was .203 inches per second at the Warden property line from the June 18th Aggie Pit West A blast. And the highest air over pressure in June was 113 dB at the Warden property line for the June 24th Aggie Pit North A blast. So looking up here at your map again, you can see once again that the shots have been mostly focused up there in the north corner, the west wall area, the lower west wall, upper west wall, and the Aggie Pit is getting a lot of attention, and some shooting down there in the base pit, and a couple down there on the south wall, the June 2nd and May 11th shots on the south wall D. Pretty good distribution throughout the pit as they're getting their good rock and their better rock and mixing them together to get the ultimate rock. This is your overall USBM summary for the month of May and June. Again, the Bower residents did not trigger, but we'll get a note added to that one. But you can see there, everyone's compliance is under the Z curve, and a really good bunch to get together the frequencies. Here's your air over pressure for the same time period between May and June. And everybody's there well below 120 dB, and you can see the line there above 133 dB where it says air over pressure recommended. That's the limit, so they're well underneath the ceiling there. This is the concern map this month. Only 3 concerns for this 2-month period, spread between the Thomas residents, the Hayslip residents, and the Timmerman residents. So we're going to look at those individually right now. So the first one we had was Mrs. Hayslip had a concern from May 26th. She had an intensity of 4 out of 5. It was located in the Aggie Pit West C location, and she just was concerned about the long rumbling and vibration from that shot. So let's see what that shot contained. You can see where she's located over here on the far side of Back Cave Road, and the near seismic compliance would be the Michaels seismograph in between her and the blast at the Aggie Pit West location. So if we look at the Michaels readings, here the readings here are pretty low. Frequencies look a little low on the L channel and the T channel, look like 6.9 and 6.8. So that might explain why she felt like a longer duration if the frequencies are low. But the PPV was also low, and that seismograph at the Michaels, or I should say city proper line, but it was still 3,000 feet away. This is a concern for Mr. Timmerman. He's at 9926 Trophy Oaks Drive. He had rated this one a 5 from the May 28th blast that was located in Base Pit Northwest B. His comments were, the blast is very strong and annoying. He was busy in the kitchen preparing food for lunch when the blast occurred. Looking at his location here, he's actually Mr. Hawley's neighbor. So we have the seismograph located right next door, and you can see relation to the blast directly behind his house there in the Quarry property itself. So if we look at the Hawley seismograph from that event, you can see that the numbers weren't too high, but the frequency was low on the L and the T channel, so that maybe again gave it that sort of an elongated effect.
It really did.
Okay.
It really did, because it startled us both.
Okay.
And that's why he reported it, because I was talking with him, and he said he didn't feel like doing the report, and I said, I'll do it for you, so
Okay.
I'll just get it done.
Sure, absolutely.
Yes.
This is the public's chance to give the Quarry feedback from what they're experiencing. So luckily for him, there was a seismograph right next door to him so that we could get some readings closest to his house. But again, it's all about the blasters trying to get their frequencies as high as possible while they're still getting the rock broken up. The third and final concern was the only one in June. On June 18th, Alona Thomas had a concern from the Aggie Pit West A shot. Her comment was, the walls of my house shook. At first, I thought it was an earthquake, but then I realized it was yet another blast. And she did request contact, and I did reach out to her and just talk to her again to kind of hear her concerns about what's happening in her house, and try to reassure that we've got seismographs surrounding the quarry and that everything is still within compliance, nothing unusual about that day's shot. In fact, just looking at the data from that, you can see she's over there again on the far west side of the quarry, even further west from Bat Cave Road. And got the microseismograph is in line with that one for the June 18th shot. And looking at that microseismograph, again, we can see all three channels on this one. L, T, and V had frequencies below 10. They were 7.8 each. So that may have given an example of why it felt like a longer, slower wave moving through her house. But the PPVs were still relatively small, and so everything losing compliance at that location.
Do you know if you have any kind of information that gives an idea of what was going on between the Iona location and the Bower location? Because they're both basically on the other side, or Bat Cave Road.
Correct.
One doesn't get any kind of signal or noise, and the Iona place, she's saying, and it's driving her nuts.
Right, and I'm sure the Buckley powder guys can explain this better if necessary, but from my understanding is, just imagine the area where they're blasting. If they're trying to knock the rock this way, the waves are gonna go this way, and this is where the Thomases live. Mrs. Bauer lives down here. So they'd have to almost shoot, you know, the opposite direction from her house. That could explain, even though the vibrations are going out, you know, like a ripple in a pond. We just noticed that if somebody's in line, you know, the opposite direction for where they shoot, they seem to get a higher wave.
More of a perpendicular kind of effect.
Kind of the opposite, like if this is the blast and they're blasting to you, then everyone over here is gonna feel it more. And if they blast this way to knock the rock that way, people are gonna feel it that way a little bit more.
Okay.
We had monitored by not on the Thomas property. They did not want us to monitor on the property, but we did have a seismograph set up on there was a park just up the road from where,
Correct.
Park Lane.
Park Lane Park,
We
yes.
were there for several months, and that seismograph, again, I think it might have triggered once
Wow, okay.
in a 2-month time.
Yeah, and I spoke with her, and she said she didn't want to monitor because it was
Correct.
always after the fact. I mean, what's it
Okay.
gonna tell me? And it's that kind of thing, so, okay.
But you know, the struggle I have with this is, you get someone with 115 who is closer naturally, and so they feel it, but nobody else complains. And in the 90s, people are complaining a mile plus away in the 90s? I mean, is there something going on in the ground that we don't understand? Or is there some
We-
kind of,
we
you know,
discussed-
subsoil configuration that?
There are clay deposits around here. We've done mapping studies in the past, but I think we also discussed last time we were here that sometimes as the vibration wave is getting further away, slowing down, and the frequency is going down. So it may be that we're getting lower frequencies further away from the Trophy Oaks neighborhood, for example. So even though the peak particle velocities are still low, if the frequency is getting lower the further away, then it may give the impression that the house is shaking more because of that.
I
lower
think
frequency.
also a key contender in that is the familiarity with the shot. Obviously, the home that's closer to it feels every shot that's going through.
Yeah.
And even though it's a 90 dB going through the Thomases, if she's not getting that, but once a month, you know, she's not familiar with the frequency of the shots that are going through. I think that's a big contender as well.
But we don't know of any caves, we don't know of any rock formations that their foundation may be sitting on. I mean, one of the guys over by me said that he actually paid extra to drill down, I forget how many feet, but a lot of feet, to put his foundation on solid rock. And he said that's why he was feeling every blast. He
Yeah.
went to the rock and he said, I stupidly blew $50,000 when I should have just done a standard foundation.
I can't speak to the caves. We know there's a lot out there. We know there's a lot of there's a lot of clay seams out there, right? They do play. I don't know if she's on one of those or not. But we've seen just here locally with the blasts that occur throughout Trophy Oaks and George Ranch, that definitely is a contender for sure. But again, we got to base it off the data we get, and when we set up a unit right outside of where her property is, again, we didn't get anything.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. That's pretty much all I have.
I,
Yes, sir. Do you think?
in trying to just look ahead, about let's say January, or March, I can't remember which, we're getting the opinion that for the last several meetings we've had, that we were getting a larger number of complaints when the shots were from the Aggie pit. And they were in newer locations than we'd had in previous years. And you saw that of the three, 2 of the 3 were in the Aggie pit. And that there was going to be some continued blasting in that area. I remember, I guess, 6 or 7 months ago, that we were saying that the coming concentration of blasting was going to be in the southern area. And then that's not the case in March, April, May, and June, you know. So change of plans?
Yes, sir. A plan is simply that a plan, and at the time the Quarry had a 1-year plan in place, but then conditions on the ground change, weather changes, the rain, for whatever reason. They can go into more detail if necessary, but they have adjusted their plans.
Okay.
And so they're still in the areas where they need to be, and so a little bit more Aggie pit activity than, I mean, that was never going to go away, but they have been focusing still up on the upper and lower west wall and the Aggie pit area to get a combination of the good rock and the better rock and mixing it all together. And
So, is there any prediction, well, that we can, you know, to look ahead, when we say, you know, if we get a phone call or need to respond to reports or complaints, is it just month to month? You have no, you know, there's no idea where the concentrations are going to be, or it's going to be equally spread. Anybody have any clue on that?
the Quarry does. I've seen their maps. They've got everything mapped out. Again, they're just plans, but they do have up to a 5-year plan and a master plan. And the plan manager can talk more about that if necessary. But they can't all be public information, but they do have a plan they're following, and they've shared it with us.
Okay. So it's a guessing game for us.
It's you know, for them, it's all about reacting to the conditions on the ground and what the market needs and to meet the needs
Yeah.
of the
Okay.
agricultural industry or aggregate industry.
And we're currently stripping the High Camp Field, which is to the south, the High Camp Field.
The southern area?
Yeah, it's to the south, east,
Uh-huh.
a little hard to strip when it rains. And it's been a wet couple months, so it's really slowed us down.
Okay,
And
so-
we need to get in there, so.
Okay, well, that's good, that's good to know. I mean, that's, at least gives me something to respond with when somebody says, gee, you know, we've been having a lot lately, and if it's up in from the Aggie pit, you know, I can say, well, the current blasting has been in this certain area, and that's why you are getting stuff that you've never had before, you know. So it's partial explanation for that makes them feel.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
I guess not. Okay, moving on to item 5C. Recommendations. Buckley Powder is requesting a partial permit for Hanson Blast, let's see. Request from Buckley Powder for a partial permit to conduct blasting activities at the Hanson Quarry for the period of October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2022. Yes. Nancy.
Buckley Powder has submitted a partial exemption blasting permit application to be able to continue doing blasting at Hanson Quarry from beginning October 1, 2021 through September 30th, 2022. In your package, you have the package concerning their application. And in my review of it, it is in order, and my recommendation would be that the Quarry Commission make recommendation for city council to approve that blasting permit.
Has everyone, I'm sorry?
Nancy, got a question?
Yes, sir.
Just refresh my,
Just for the record, do we have a second?
No, we haven't got there yet.
Can you discuss until you've got a second?
I think we should discuss a little bit.
Second. Okay.
just refresh my, who is the, Buckley just started last year, right? That was their,
This is their
2018.
Yeah, they've been here.
2018 is when they received their first permit.
okay, who was the other company that preceded them?
Orica was before
Or-
them.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
they're
yeah.
gone.
And then they came in and, yeah, and.
They've
there was a
been there
shift. They had been
since-
like a secondary, Buckley had been like a secondary backup.
There for I believe, 1 year. Maybe
Orca
2
was
at the
there for a
most.
short time.
They were a secondary blaster.
Okay, I got you. Okay, so their track record is.
Yes.
Fairly,
They were the blasters decade.
okay, yeah.
They are very faithful about contacting us before a blast occurs and then letting us know when it's concluded. You know, as you can see from the results that y'all are presented every month, they have not exceeded any of the requirements
limits.
of the city ordinance.
Yes. They've, Buckley Powder has been a good neighbor. I'll just say it like that. Along with the quarry, you know, they've been doing what the quarry wanted, and they've been doing it efficiently and as quietly as money permits, whatever the quarry's paying. So, do I have a motion?
Had a motion.
In a second, you got it.
It's been moved and second to give that information to the city council, to recommend it to the city council for approval. Okay? All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? No. All ayes have it. Okay. I've been watching and looking and waiting, and I was hoping that our replacement for Albert was here, but I can't seem to see her in the audience. I know she talked to my wife this morning, said, "Oh, this is my first Quarry meeting," but I just don't see her in here, so. I don't know, what do you guys think?
But there was a,
She has a resume.
It's up on your screen where it was,
Okay.
right there.
yeah. Okay. This one. And she had contacted Nancy or somebody with interest, or how did we?
Well, back in January or so, I actually talked to her as well because she lives just down the street from me. And so I was out walking and she said hello, and so we continued the conversation, but she wants to work with the city to do things with the city, improve things with the city, and I think she can.
Okay,
But like I say, she's not here, so I have no way to answer questions for her per se.
just have to wait until the next meeting.
I think we can do that.
well, the question is, we're hanging Albert now. Or-
No, I'm gonna walk over there tonight and say, "What's up?"
Okay, so Albert, are you game for another couple months, or,
Absolutely no problem at all.
okay, that's all, I just want to make sure we're not sticking you into a
No.
difficult situation.
Okay, fair enough. But yes, I honestly, yes, go ahead, please.
Y'all have, I mean, if Mr. Haddad desires to resign from the commission, your current makeup of the commission, you are able to conduct either special or regular meetings.
Cool.
I just want to state that, because I know he's
Itching to get to another
he
group.
keeps postponing it, trying to wait until we do have a replacement. But I just want y'all to be aware that y'all do have enough, even with the vacancy, you would still have enough to conduct
Conduct
meetings.
business. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay,
we
thank you.
like seeing his happy face, too. We like seeing his happy face. So if you choose to and you
Sir,
want to,
I may be able to learn some more, so I'll stick around whenever you need me. But Nancy's absolutely correct. You can conduct business without me.
okay. Thank you
But
for
I am
staying
here for
for
to
the
serve.
duration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Since you brought that up, what is the quorum? 4?
4 for a regular meeting, which
you're having
right
Okay, now, yeah.
5 for a special.
Okay.
We've got room to spare here, we're rich.
No, we're not that rich, but okay. Yeah, not for just saying. Moving right along then. 5D is our educational training, and we talked about, oh, sorry.
Still got
Let me
action.
stand corrected here, I think I missed something. What did I miss? What did I miss? Make a recommendation for the city council.
2, 3,
Two.
you have 3 commissioners whose terms of office will be expiring September 2021. 2 of those commissioners, Mudge and Mr. Shands, have met the 4-term limit. Oh, I'm sorry, I had been putting it on. I forgot this time. So you would, the commission can ask the city council to consider extending those terms for another term of those 2 commissioners if that's what the commission desires to ask for.
Is everyone reading this? Is on the screen?
Yes.
Everyone's read it?
Just to cut to the quick, I'm overloaded with other things in life, and so I would prefer not to serve one more term.
Understood.
However, like Mr. Haddad, I will remain on the commission until such time as a replacement is found. And so you may still have to go to the council to get permission to allow me to extend into the next year, but then as soon as we get a replacement, I would like to then resign.
I agree with that. And what had happened is I was hoping that there was another person that was also going to be here, but he didn't show up. He didn't respond to me either. But we're working on it. Anyone else have a comment? No.
So we'll know, we have another meeting in September, correct?
Yes.
And your position doesn't expire until the end of September.
Correct.
So you'll be, and
Here
we
for
may know
September.
more at that next meeting. Yeah, I would appreciate, we really appreciate your flexibility with us, as always, Wayne.
Well, gotta be like my hero down here.
And, Mr. Armando, you're also up, right?
No, I am. Well, with the 3 of us,
Three of
yes.
us,
But
yeah.
All 3 of
but
them.
Armando just got on, so I would think, Armando, you would stay.
Well, you can't just, we can't
Consider it.
Yeah,
take
but you might want to
for
do
granted.
that, yeah.
We want to, make sure that you're okay with this.
Yes.
And Mr. Shands, what is your?
Same, so are you saying you just want to wait till September and see what happens?
Well, I was going to say, do we need to get a papal dispensation for you? Let's see, how's the dispensation? Or would have to wait till September to ask for that?
No,
Chair?
You can certainly do it now, it's on the agenda.
So we put it on the agenda for this month's meeting because all of the other commissions will meet in August, and that's when they will discuss this and make a recommendation that will go to council in September. Since all the terms expire at the end of September, we can't take the recommendation to council at their October meeting because by that time your term has already expired. So you would need to make a recommendation at your meeting tonight about these appointments.
Okay, good, that's,
And for this one, I think y'all should do Diaz separate from the other two, since his is just a typical reappointment recommendation. And if y'all choose to make a motion to ask council for the waiver to extend Mudge and Shands, that those two can go together in one motion, but let's separate Diaz from the others. Thank you.
very smart, thank you.
So I'm not going to try and repeat that, but that was a good motion.
Yeah. So,
So, we want to move that Mr. Diaz's be.
Extension
continued, I
be
guess,
continued
For another.
for another term.
Yes,
Okay. And we would-
Second, because it
Second.
was two motions.
yes.
Okay. Motion, second, okay.
Let's vote on it.
Approved?
I,
Aye. You can vote for yourself. Okay.
Okay, that part's done.
That helps. So, and we also need a motion to at least offer to extend.
I move that we go to city council, recommend city council, a request from city council, a waiver for Wayne and Mike, or Mr. Mudge and Mr. Shands, to be able to get a waiver to extend for another term. And that's all, right?
I agree. Motion, second, first?
So moved.
Okay, and second.
Second.
Thank you.
I,
All approved? Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Nancy. So now we can go on to the educational
Well,
information.
what does number 6 mean?
Six, citizen comment period?
Discuss and make recommendations related to application of ordinance provisions to commission members if needed. What is what is
That's six.
anticipated in that?
So that is a just in case something comes up between the time the agenda is posted and the meeting. That's on all the commission's agendas. So say somebody already has 3 absences in their rolling 12-month period and they don't show up to this meeting, this would give them their 4th absence. At that time, they're automatically terminated unless the commission makes a recommendation to council to waive that. So this allows for something like that to happen, that where the commission could still make a recommendation to keep the person and they're not actually automatically terminated if council chooses.
So we had someone in that situation?
No, we don't.
We have in the past on a different commission, so we felt it would be beneficial to just keep that item as a rolling item on all agendas for all commissions.
Thank you.
Good question, thank you. Any other questions?
Oh, was there an item on monitor here this time? I didn't see it. On the agenda?
Placement of the monitors? Do you have a
Number
new
3.
placement?
Under B.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, there it is, I missed it, okay. Did we discuss that, or?
No, we didn't, I'm sorry. Location and placement of the monitors and other matters related to monitoring of blasting, including the placement of the roving monitor. Does anyone have anybody, any contact, or any information about where we can, or where we would want to move a monitor to?
If
Yes?
there is a list still out there, remember the last citizen that requested one was the Midlas.
Correct. And that would be where it would go. And where is it right now?
At the Bauer residence. It's south. It's, the Midla location would be a good area to put it, where
Okay.
Bauer is, I'm
It's
sorry.
on
what's
the
name
other
of the
side
road?
of Bat Cave Road.
Garden
or
Ridge
At
Drive.
Bat Cave
Yep.
Road. And every blast that we've had has been basically no,
4 months
no
of
triggers.
Yes.
So I would like to say, would it be all right with you if we moved the monitor from your property, Councilman? I just want to clear it with you right now so that we can get it done. That's all. It's good to go. So let's move it to the middle of residence. Is that okay with everyone?
Okay, do we need a motion on that?
Don't think so.
Okay, we're good then, yeah.
Okay.
We'll contact. the
You'll
Midlas.
contact her or them, and, because they wanted to get on, they wanted the monitor over there, and they asked me,
Months ago.
yeah, really. So that would be the next place. Okay. And Councilman Bauer asked to keep it there as long as possible, but was willing to let it go as well. So we'll get it back over there eventually and see what happens. Hopefully you still get no triggers.
We'll never know.
That's true. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Okay. Still back on this educational thing. The educational thing, if we're ready for that, D. Everybody agree? I like to skip things, you know that. One of the things is, Vibertech put out the Quarry terminology report, or a document, basically. Please, go ahead.
Yes. We still are running our document through legal to make sure that we're going through the proper hoops to jump through. I want Hanson's approval on the product as well. What this terminology sheet will be is a laminated document that's going over some of the basic terms and including some figures. Admittedly, it has been going glacially slow, but I do not have a product to show at this time.
Okay. Additionally, last March, or in March, we had a document that was presented that was supposed to be part of our packet, and we looked at it, and it was a PDF or a PDF in PDF format, and they printed it out, but we could not actually access the various parts of that document, or has anyone been able to?
So again, we sent in, so that's part of the PowerPoint presentation, the educational PowerPoint presentation. There are 3 slides on there that require a specific file to be with the program as well for them to operate. And when that file is not present, you don't see the video. But those files have been sent. We sent them at the last meeting. I'm not sure whether or not that's been checked through by the city if it's worked, but on our end it did when we sent it.
So we can bring that up to the city secretaries and assistant secretaries, see where that is. But along with that, I'm just going to throw this out there. I heard today that Judson ISD got hacked, and so they've been down for about 2 weeks now. So I understand what you may be going through if you're trying to put that together or anything.
No, so I do have the files, and obviously they will work on my computer because they're on our server, on our city server. If the commission is okay with posting that education packet on the city's website, I obviously can't upload those links. So therefore, those slides will not work when uploaded to the city's website. So if the commission is okay with that, with those slides not working properly, then I just need a consensus to post it.
Wait, I'm kind of confused, I'm sorry. All right, so the status right now is the program is in your, in the city's hands or computer, and you can add it then to the website, but it would have that problem.
Yes, those three things will not work properly for residents. Because
Okay,
it's not a
and-
file that I can share on the city's website.
And the reason for that is cybersecurity or?
No, it's just because it has to be linked to a desktop. So therefore, I can't share that link on the city's website to actively work within the presentation. There's no way for me to upload those links onto the city's website. For people to then download onto their own computer to see the presentation properly.
So you can't get it in a PDF form or something?
No, it will not work like that.
Well, I'm
It's a
confused.
video.
Is this the same, we're talking about this thing we've had for almost 8 months?
Yes.
And we can't get it to be compatible to where our citizens can use it?
Not those three specific videos. Yes, that is correct. So if the commission is okay with that, then I will post it to the website tonight before I leave.
We're
But-
going to get tons of questions.
But we would get a lot of
It would-
questions
it would-
about
it
it.
would blow
Why
up.
is
So,
this not working?
yes, so that's why we need to either change those slides or we need to figure out a workaround.
So it's but I just heard you say video, so it's not a PDF or?
No, it's a video.
So it's an MP4 or
So-
AVI or
well,
something like that?
First off, it's their document, and I wouldn't even dare try and say it's a MP4 or whatever, but it's their document made with their software and stuff like that. And that's why I brought up the idea of what was happening out at Judson ISD, because we don't want to put something on our server that could possibly compromise our server to a hacker, basically, because we don't know what it is. We don't know what hackers are involved with exactly.
But it's just a file with a standard, I don't get it. I mean, I've got a jillion MP4 files, AVI files, JPEG files, PDF files, IWEP, anyway, tons, 17,000 of them. And I've had them for 27 years, and I've never been hacked. So, come on, you all got much better than I do.
How much money you got? I'm gonna start hacking you.
You coming after me?
I'll come get
You're
you.
gonna be disappointed. But I'm sorry, I just don't understand that something that has been around since computers began,
True.
and we're saying they're not safe,
Well, that's a
just
good
because you download
possibility.
a file from me doesn't mean you're going to, okay, whatever, never mind. You all know more about computers than I do.
Technical problem, excuse me. It is a technical problem that the format of those videos, you are unable to tack them onto, link them, or provide a link from our city website.
Correct.
Okay.
So if the commission would like, myself and Nick will go ahead and work on this issue. And when we come back to the September meeting, maybe we can have it resolved.
I'm sure, Kat, you and I working on it, I'm certain we can come. I was unaware, we sent
Nope.
him out, I was unaware that there was this
That's
holdup.
perfectly fine. So so Nick and I will go ahead and work on
We will.
this, and we'll have something finalized for you at the next meeting. So then we can get a consensus from you to post it for the residents.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate
Great.
it.
All good?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
works
thanks.
for me, because I was trying to look at it and it just wouldn't
Just
work
a,
for me.
right, just a miscommunication, because I'm sitting
Exactly.
there saying it's fine, and it just didn't blend in there. We'll get it worked on. My
Thank you
apologies.
so much.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
We don't need a motion on that.
No, they have an assignment, that's all. They have an assignment, yes.
Got it, okay.
Any other questions, comments? I'm gonna try and move on again. Any future agenda items?
Or anything for the grapevine?
I'm gonna put you in contact with Karen.
Well, the fact that that could be possibly put in the grapevine, we're looking to future, have a future educational presentation
On the
available to you.
website, yeah.
Oh, okay. And can we just call the city number and ask for you specifically? Okay, good. Okay, that's fine.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
No one has anything else. I would really like to say, I'd like to announce the date and time of the next meeting,
Okay.
September 13th, 2021, 6 o'clock, City Council Chambers.
All right.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn. Did you?
Citizen comments first.
Citizen comments, I apologize. Yes, Councilman Bauer. Oh, yeah, she's here because she's here as a citizen.
Kay Bauer, 8947 Garden Ridge Drive, Garden Ridge, Texas. Just wanted to thank you for the gracious way you handled my inquiries 6 or 7 months ago. What had happened, for those who weren't here, we've been here 21 years, and for the first time ever, we had a crack. Some concrete was exposed the rebar on our detached garage, as well as an adjacent outbuilding, which again, we'd never had a problem. So I was concerned that there might have been damage caused by a blast, and I'm happy to hear that there were no incidents in this time frame. Whether it occurred prior to that, I don't know, but I wanted to thank the commission and particularly Mr. Larner for his gracious way he handled it. He was very communicative, came out at my convenience to put the lunar landing module there, and has already, to your point, already contacted me about would it be okay if I came out, or I said, well, I'm going to be going to the meeting if that helps you. And he said, sure. So he said, I'll just coordinate with you, excuse me, come take it away after that. So thank you to everyone involved. It was totally pleasant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion? Any other comments?
I move that the meeting be adjourned.
It has been moved and seconded. Want to vote on it? All approved?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, meeting's adjourned. Not necessarily. Oops.
Mrs. Bauer, I wanted you to think.
Gonna get some good word about us. Anyway, so.
I don't often have moments. I'm just very happy.
You brought the glass in the workstation, and then we would have a meeting, right? So each one of these, I like this is one glass, and each of these are compliance size progressions. They're located over here. And if you look down here, it says a no trigger means that it was less than 0.02 inches per second, which is very small. And if that result would be a no trigger, so if you see your name here, we see that on this shot, this glass, you had a no trigger versus they had data there, which is why you did not appear as a summary when I was
So
showing.
Wayne.
And if you find yourself, again, here's your